Hello everyone, Jamie Starr here for the New World News Network. On this episode, I'm going to do a real quick bit covering this one sentence that was mentioned in Captain America Civil War. And I know all everyone's hearing about this is, we should make Captain America gay, Captain America needs a boyfriend and everything like that. And normally there are these sort of hidden political messages in it. There's a really good article about Captain America, Winter Soldier, and how he had this libertarian viewpoint with the whole idea of the gunships and pointing a gun at everyone's head to make them act a certain way is not freedom, that's fascism, that's tyranny, and that point was put through. In this one, there's a very subtle point made, and I think it is a great, I don't know if it'd be an allegory or an analogy, metaphor, whatever, one of those, for gun control. Because after the Sokovia incident happens and the thing in Uganda or wherever in Africa, you have them all sit down over the Sokovia Accords, which is the, Civil War law, basically, and Captain America refuses to sign on to it, and he goes on this whole bit where he says, well, what if there's a problem and we need to be there and they won't send us? Well, if there's something they're trying to send us to that we shouldn't be involved in? And the congressman or the head of state or whatever goes and he says, do you even know where Thor and Banner are? And they say no, and he says, well, something on the extent of, if I misplace two 80-ton nukes, you better believe I would have someone to answer to. So I think this really is a great representation of the gun control debate and the idea that civilians should not be able to have guns, because it ultimately is talking about a monopoly on force. And that's what the legislation of the Sokovia Accords tries to do. It tries to monopolize all of the powers of the superheroes under the control of the UN, of an elected body. And there's a great scene where, all the characters are debating it and everything like that. Tony and War Machine, they're both saying, it's a good idea, we need checks and balances, and Captain America is saying the safest hands will always be our own. That is the attitude of your pro-Second Amendment gun owner. If that person in government, who, you don't know if they're crazy or not just because they have a little government badge on, if they're allowed to have a gun, why am I not allowed to have one? It is ultimately the argument of monopoly on violence and force, and I think you really see that play out in this movie. Now, that does all get sidetracked by the personal storyline between Tony, his parents, and the Winter Soldier. I assume everyone has seen this by now, so I don't have any problems mentioning key plot lines. But that was just a little bit that I noticed about this movie as far as the argument for monopoly on force that I just figured was worth bringing up. Anyone, you have any comments, anything to share, feel free to do so below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Links for my other endeavors will be in there below. On my music channel, you can see clips of me working on a new album. I'll be getting my Patreon up so I can start buying content from other creators and really build this into a network. So make sure you all stay tuned for all the updates coming soon.